well, but they should be back in the next couple of minutes. So we'll just set the tone of the session in terms of what we are planning to discuss in this session. So retail, since particularly I think I run the Retailer magazine, so I can tell you since 2000, maybe year 2000, retail has always been a topic of discussion. It has been in news for all the right and the wrong reasons most of the times. But most importantly, I think it has always been a great opportunity which has been looked at by investors to invest in. Primarily, this opportunity comes from the fact that there is a big brand involved, and working with that big brand and the partnership, in getting in partnership with the big brand has always been an entrepreneur's call to do. And I think secondly, there is, while the brick and mortar was still getting established in the modern segment, we also had the onslaught of e-commerce which came to happen. And all of us are been trying to figure our way around the industry. So one thing I can tell you for sure is that as an editor, I have kept pretty busy for the last 10 years trying to just figure and get the ropes of the industry, because the minute you've probably ended up figuring out one thing, then another thing arrives for which one has to again start working. So it's been a busy industry, that is for certain. And I think we have got a distinguished panel members, some of them who have built their own indigenous business right from India and grown big, taken all over the country. And then there are international franchisors, retailers who have come from other markets and building a business in India and trying to expand it. So our larger area of discussion would focus around three elements. We're trying to understand how is retail as an opportunity today, vis-a-vis what it was, let's say 5 or 7 years back. And given the fact that there is so much e-commerce talk that is going around, and all of them are selling online, so they'll share their experiences there. But you know, how have the retail franchise model changed because of that? So what has been so have the models become bigger, smaller? What is the new, or how have they placed their models for franchisee to make enough money out of it? And my last part would be that location has always been central to a retail business, and we have Yogeshwar here today from Select City Walk, who's gonna tell us how the location parameter and how location was selected by a retailer a few years back to how they do the Reiki now in terms of selecting the location has changed. So to take the discussion forward, I'm going to first start from Mr. Anupam Bansal. He owns the Liberty brand in India. It's probably a brand, if you're living particularly in the north, you have probably worn it at some point of time or the other in your life. So Mr. Bansal, my question to you is that how has Liberty grown year on year, you know, and over a decade in the last, particularly from 2000 onwards, wherein what has your strategy been for growth? And largely, how has today's e-commerce business affected or improved, changed your business and your business dynamics?
Thank you, Ritu. So just, I'm sure Liberty is a brand known to most of the people, but I would talk about the transition which we are really talking about. I think footwear industry is still experiencing a big transition. So I think almost 10 to 15 years back, we still remember that most of the people wanted to just buy that black pair of shoe. We see the formal shoe and the sport shoe in the same shoe. And everybody was trying to concentrate the requirement of the footwear as all-in-one kind of a shoe, which has changed drastically today. I think the audience, the consumer has become a lot more fashion conscious. People are spending lot more time and money to look smarter. I think there are various categories filled up. And I think the gentleman next to me has added so much color in the wardrobe. Earlier, the men was only looking at black. I think now today, red, yellow, green, purple, any color we speak about is there in everybody's wardrobe, and all kinds of shoes from sports to adventure to loafers, and I think the multiple categories. Consumer has become a lot more brand conscious. About 10 to 15 years back, I think 90% of the market was unorganized and only 10% of the share came from the branded segment. And today, it has not increased drastically, but still about 20 to 25% comes from branded, is still a lot more organized, which gives opportunity for brands to grow a lot more, and especially with retail experiences provided by Select City. A lot more consumers want to go to retail to experience. I think that experience is changing a lot of consumption from unbranded to the branded, and people are willing to appreciate what the brand is really about. So the huge amount of change has come in consumer buying behavior from unbranded to branded. Coming to the e-commerce, the product has changed, the retail environment has changed. I still feel e-commerce is a pretty nascent stage at the moment. A lot of consumers are experiencing as at a fad whereby they just want to order, experience the product. There are a lot more learnings, at least in the life cycle where our brand is. For us, they contribute to 2 to 3% of the sales, but still there are a lot of learnings. How do we tackle discounting? How do we really create a convenience model for the consumers so they see value in buying online? How do we balance online and offline trade? Because we have a set of 500 showrooms which sell offline. There's a business model which exists there. We can't really afford in disturbing that business model by offering huge amount of discounts and erode the brand equity in the long-term space. So I think there are a lot of learnings coming. There are a lot of players which are coming in the market offering huge amount of discounts to create attraction there. Still, I think it's a wait and watch, but we very strongly feel that the convenience model should exist. People should see value in buying online rather than just creating a discount and changing the consumer buying habit from an offline store to an online store. I think that's not the strategy we would like to really take, and we still feel in a brand, consumer experience is a must. Definitely we cannot say that consumer convenience is not important, and it really increases your reach by creating an online space. But I think in another 1 or 2 years' time, a lot more things will settle down, and both the models will coexist for the convenience consumer, the online space, and for the experience customer, the retail experience. Thank you.
Sure. I think some valid points there. In fact, this is something that I had mentioned yesterday also, that we cannot have newer models or newer channels destroying our older channels. They have to complement each other. So we need to build our capabilities as retailers, as brand owners, as manufacturers of consumer goods to be able to sell across channels rather than just saying that now I'm a footwear retailer. I'm not anymore a footwear retailer. I'm a footwear manufacturer. That's why I have all the liberty to sell online. So I think that mindset probably needs to somewhere be changed or be tweaked in our own minds. So Nissan, you have a true blue differentiated product, within Crocs, and for you, probably the decision is the easiest. You can say that I'm not going to sell it through the store. I want to sell it online. But how do you see? How would you rather create a balance between the two? So that the business happens online as well as through the stores. And I know it's easier said than done. But how do you see the market going forward? Because at the end of the day, consumer will have to go out. Even if he wants to buy everything, he's not just going to sit he's not going to couch potato and never go out. He wants to step out. So what is your store going to give to him which is not online?
I think to address that question, we have to start with some foundational thoughts. Thought number one, e-com is not going away, right? There's nobody in this room that believes, in 10 years, catalogs came and catalogs have gone. Home shopping has become big on TV, and that might die, and they've become less important. I think everyone sitting here, Ritu, would admit that e-com is very important today and probably going to be uber important tomorrow, right? So that's number one. You got to start at the foundation. Having said that, though, where Anupam talked about it being in a nascent stage, I see it as being in a formative stage, a very turbulent stage, a very unknown stage, especially in our economy in India. So maneuvering through the e-com / brick and mortar debate in India is much more tricky than any other country because we have a very, very well-funded, aggressive e-com front. But let's back away just for 1 second, right? At the end of the day, everything you and I do has to be about the customer. And if you're very honest with yourself, your customer is not shopping online just for convenience alone. They also want to see options available. So now all of a sudden, instead of tromping through 10 different stores to see 10 different options, with clicks of button, they can see options of your brand, options of who you stand for, what you stand for, who are your competitors, who are not your competitors. So it's not only about convenience and price. I think The reason we've defaulted to price is because we've not been able to create a value-add experience through the e-com channel. That day is coming. So is that bad news for us franchisors and people that run brick and mortar stores? Absolutely not, because compared to the US mall occupancy is at the highest level in the last 6 months than it's been since 1997. And they have one of the more developed e-com places, economies in the world. So the consumer is not going to walk away from a retail brick and mortar, but they're going to walk away from a brick and mortar that operates as an island, that does not have an omni-channel experience, that does not bring to life what the brand is, and cohesively what the brand is on Twitter, what the brand is on Facebook, what the brand is on the web, and what the brand is when they come and experience the store. So we can get clever and say, oh, you know what, on e-com I'll sell this and stores I'll sell that. Well, that's just confusing to a customer at our brand level. Every brand has a different level, right? At our brand level, it's about having a consistent brand DNA story that comes across every single time. So for us, when it comes to e-commerce, we're doing two things. We're playing police, making sure the prices aren't wrong, number one. And number two, we're trying to create an omni-channel experience whereby we let the customer know that there's value in going and visiting and feeling the product. Because if you brag about feel the comfort, a lot of people want to go feel the comfort before they buy too. So integrating, but realizing that we're in turbulent times and it's not going to go away anytime soon. But the brick and mortar franchise operator that decides he's just going to operate as a brick and mortar store is a dinosaur. But the brick and mortar operator that says, I'm part of an omni-channel universe, I'm part of a Milky Way galaxy here, is going to really benefit from it.
I think that's a great point over there that you made, Nissan. And we need to have both the worlds coexisting somewhere, and that's the way it should be. Coming to you, Rajesh, you have a product which is probably as easy to buy online as it is offline. So, and worldwide we like to know how is Chicco, not just for Indian market, but worldwide, how are you changing your retail policy? But at the same time, I can tell you as a young mother, I had not experienced Chicco till I had a child. So, for a young mom, just to say that, okay, let me start buying it online is also not the answer. So how do you maintain a balance in the physical world with the online world?
Yeah, I think what you're rightly talking about, e-com is an experience or e-com is a convenience we cannot ignore. We can only ignore on our own peril. That's a reality. I think the way I see the way consumer has evolved over the time period is that when we talk about the new age mothers or new age parent, the new age parents are probably one of the most connected or probably information seeking parents that we have. So once for us the journey of buying doesn't start when you actually need a product today. So you already, when you conceive, or you already know that in 6 months to 9 months, you're gonna need all the product, all the research, active research, passive research. When I say active research, anytime that you're sitting with your phone or with the convenience of laptop in the office or something, you are probably browsing through what you want to buy, what all product, what all conveniences that exist today, which was not there when we were kind of look at about 5-10 years back. Many of the new age products categories, which many of us, like when I talk about me as a father, when I joined Chicco about 5 years back, I said, no, I always wanted to have this product. Where were they all these times? But I think globally, when they existed, yes, they did. Having said that, now when you look at those new age product or kind of let's talk about breastfeeding, which is a different concept from basic feeding bottle, to a stroller, which has I must say from buggy, which was a low-end product, to a evolved pram you can actually take away into the Indian roads and move around in the market. So you really want to see what is the difference that I talk about being buggy and these things. So there you want to go to physically check the store, and your active search starts there. So you, or for that matter, passive, you start looking. I see a lot of pregnant female come to our store. They start looking at selecting the product. Okay, this is what I want, or this is probably going to suit me, etc. with the price, budget, and everything. So there, I think also when we talk about we as a brand, Chicco, we are catering to babies 0 to 3 years when we talk about. And there the life cycle of this segment is very, very small. So many of the consumer does not even experience this product before. So it's only at the short span of 3 to 4 years that they need to do the active search and passive and end up buying the whole product. So let me talk about moving from, say, pram, which is kind of a product they decide and they buy either through online or offline once they have actually done their search. But again, most of the parent that I know still wants to go for offline, but online is something that is there. I will also come to where online will come even more handy. When it comes to fashion, especially for fashion for babies. So there, when we only say 3-month-old baby or 6-month-old baby. Now 3 months is a one parameter. We know with the kind of demographic we have in our country, so in the eastern part of the country, 3 months could be a different to say a northern part. So there you really want to go to the store to physically check what is right for me, what is not right for me. So there the physical presence becomes very, very important. I think another very, very important point when it comes to e-com is, I was listening to Mr. Arora's talking about the 4G part. Today also, let's accept and let's understand that when we look at a lot of people, they want to search product online, but at times with low speed or something like that, they kind of do not accept that technology, or they start buying on the shelf and everything. But the moment the speed becomes much, much faster, or for example, you can look at, you get into the store, you check the product, if it's discount, you can probably start looking at a different part. So let's see the technology, how it's gonna really change the way we experience. The right thing is, I think 3 gentlemen, the gentleman sitting next to us told us that the e-com is at nascent stage. And you said that it is probably at the formative stage. In my opinion, it is at a different stage for different categories. Let's say in travel, it's at a disruption. They have already removed the travel industry completely. And on the electronic part also, they are really taking away the entire market. Same is happening in our industry as well. For some of the product fashion, different categories, say stroller, where the value purchase is higher. They really want to go for a discount. When it comes to fashion, nursing, they really want to look at still the omni-channel or physical store. Coming back to another point, what you talk about, the global market. I think for us, US would be the right example, where the market has really changed over the period. And just to share another industry, which is what we call as toys, our own subsidiary has stopped selling toys to the different channels. So the business has become almost entirely to the e-com. So it will all depend what category, what differentiation, what experience we are creating. That's the way the product category and the market would survive.